Hi guys, let's get into a reading. Thank you for your likes, your comments, your subscribes, and to those of you who have booked a personal reading with me. Please keep in mind that these are general messages, so do not take them personally. Take the messages that resonate and leave the rest behind. If you would like to book a personal reading with me, you can find the information in the description box below. Let's get into it. This is going to be a reading on tonight's full moon, the full moon in Aquarius. What message do you have for the collective at this time regarding the energy surrounding the full moon in Aquarius? Help me to articulate a clear and concise message in order for it to be received in the way that you want it to best be received. Help me to see what it is that I need to see to get the message across as clear as possible. And help me to deliver any messages that you deem worthy in order to serve your highest good, for the highest good of humanity with harm to none. What message do you have for the collective at this time regarding the energy surrounding the full moon in Aquarius? What message do you have for the collective at this time regarding the energy surrounding the full moon in Aquarius? Excuse me. I got the hiccups. Now, I did try to record this video 2 other times before this one. And the message surrounding those was just the fact that you are in this space of now embracing who you are in this lifetime, right? You have released or really accepted this space of just existing and what it is that you've created for your life, right? You're no longer in a space where you are, one, looking too far into the future, or two, holding on to things that are well within your past, right? You're in this space where you have really learned to be present, right? You're still in a space where you're preparing for the future, right? Using the lessons that you've learned from your past. But you're not anxious to see where you're going, how fast you'll get there, what it will look like when you get there, right? You're more so in the energy where you are very present in this creation mode, right? You're very focused on the here and now and what actions you should be taking to plant the seeds that you will need for what it is that you're desiring to grow, right? You're in this space where you have learned to accept your flaws, accept your experiences that you may have tried to suppress, or you may have felt shame at some point. You're in a space now where you're more accepting of those things, right? Because you understand the nuance of every situation that you've encountered and how it has led you on the path to where you are in this current moment, right? You're so focused on what it is that you're creating that you're not harboring onto the past, right? You're not harboring on to any shame. You don't feel the need to suppress what it is that you've experienced or what it is that you've gone through, because you know that those experiences gave you the leverage that you needed to get to where you are now and where it is you're going in the future, right? You've accepted who you are in totality. And maybe that's something that you have not experienced in the past, right? Maybe in the past you were not fully accepted by maybe the people around you, right? Maybe in the past you could have experienced people who were only around you for what it is that you could provide for them or what they could receive from you, right? Maybe it was just your being in your presence, right? Seems like you have this very like lively energy, right? You seem very confident in who you are, very sure in who you are. Even if you did not feel that way in that moment in time, other people around you could sense that you had a firm foundation of who you are and where you were meant to go and what it is that you were meant to do and how you were going to succeed in those areas, right? And so maybe it was just your confidence that inspired them, right? Maybe it was, just your presence being around you provided a sense of safety or security, right? Or maybe they benefited from all the blessings, you know, that you were receiving in your life from the work that you were doing. Whatever the case may be for you, there is a sense now where you're stepping into this place where everything around you is accepting you for who you are, in addition, like in a sense of wholeness, right? You don't have to pretend to be this light being who never has experienced anything harsh or has never went through anything that they feel shame about, or maybe were put in situations where they experienced something that they didn't deserve, right? The where you are now in this present moment, because you have accepted who you are completely in totality, everything that is orbiting you in this moment is accepting you in that same way. So you don't have to be afraid to share your past experiences that once upon a time made you feel shameful. You don't have to be afraid to share your experiences that, and once upon a time, you didn't feel as complete in who you were, right? So let's pull some tarot. Okay, let's clarify courage. Clarify courage. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, this is definitely you in a space of, again, one, accepting the nuance of life, right? And having the confidence to grow and to go after the things that you feel deeply desirable, right? There's something that you feel deeply connected to, a passion that drives you. Something, it's almost as if like there's a part of you that wants to give, feels a passionate need and a passionate connection to offering, right? But again, there may have been some lessons that you have had to overcome when it comes to overthinking, right? Because again, there was a point in time where you weren't accepted, right? There was a point in time where you didn't feel connection to anyone or anything around you, right? Which is why you had to, or which is why you went into this space of solitude. You went into this space of hermit mode, right? But the full moon is making you aware that you no longer have that tether to those fears. You no longer have to feel um afraid of not being accepted. You no longer have to be afraid of being perceived by so many different in so many different ways, from so many different perspectives, right? This is you really accepting your calling, accepting your role and your position in this life, accepting the mission of your legacy, right? It's something that you can't disconnect from, right? Because it's something deep within your subconscious, but it's also something that you had to overcome in the same way, right? It's almost as if like the very thing that you were afraid of is the very thing that will make you successful in this life. All right, let's get some clarity for abundance. Clarify abundance. The High Priestess, the Ten of Swords, and this came out in the reading that I had to start over. It was the Everything is Fine card came out, and then this card came out on top of the Everything is Fine card. So again, there's definitely a sense of like you had to go through this phase of learning how to not betray yourself, right? You had to learn to not take responsibility for for other people's opinions, for other people's thoughts, for other people's perspectives, and for the way other people kind of functioned in their own realities, right? You had to learn how to separate yourself from those frequencies, from those aspects, right? Because they were not a part of who you were, but they were things that were projected on you, right? From people who, I don't necessarily want to say jealous, but maybe in a sense, in some cases, in some ways, by some people. But this is for sure the space of, yeah, the Six of Wands. You are, the Six of Wands gives, like, I don't want to say celebrity energy, but there are a lot of eyes on you. And again, part of your success is tied to being seen. It's tied to providing hope. It's tied to providing this sense of healing and balance within yourself that in effect will influence others who come in contact with you, right? This is a very successful energy, but it's also the energy of a leader, right? Someone who knows how to guide, someone who knows how to you're very aware of who you are, right? But again, part of your abundance, part of your success is it will require you to be vulnerable, to share the things that maybe you had to overcome in your moments of solitude. You may be called to share the things that you have had to overcome, um or some of the lessons that you have had to learn, or some of the experiences that you went through. There's something about you sharing your space with the masses, sharing your healing journey, sharing your faith, right? Of how you learn to balance the reality of your mind, your heart, your spirit, right? Learning how to balance, your internal world so that it reflects your external world. Sharing how you have had to learn how to be disciplined in a way where you didn't feel like you were abandoning yourself. Learning how to be accepting of the fact that there's no one else like you, right? You have a gift, you have an understanding, you have a knowing, you have a sense of wisdom that isn't very common. But again, that's also part of your leadership journey, how you will align or receive this sense of abundance, right? Clarify success. Mm-hmm. The Page of Swords and the Death card. Yeah. So this may be a learning curve for you. Because again, you may be in a space where you were very, Judgment card. This is a part of your calling. This is a part of your purpose, right? This isn't something that you can get away from, right? It's something that everything that you have been through up until this moment has prepared you for this moment, right? Nothing that you've experienced has been in vain. Everything that you have experienced has been for your benefit, to leverage you for this next level of success you're getting ready to experience. Again, this may be a learning curve for you because it may feel different to be perceived by so many people, or to be accepted in a way that you may not have ever felt accepted before. But it's not something that's meant to defeat you. It's just something that it's a new skill, right? Yeah. It's just a new skill that you will have to learn. It's just an area of space to grow within, right? As with any new journey, right? Let's pull 4 cards to close this message out. It seems pretty straightforward. You've aligned yourself with what it is that you truly desire, what it is that you truly see for your life, right? You've accepted all of you, your conscious, your subconscious, your fears, your desires, your wants, your needs, your failures, your challenges, the things that you've overcome, right? You've accepted yourself in all ways. And in return, everything around you will be accepting of all parts in the same manner, right? One card for what we can learn. One card for one major lesson we can learn surrounding this message. One card for what we can create surrounding this message. One card for what we can meditate on as the focus of this message. And one card for what we can innovate to contribute to our growth and expansion surrounding this message. One card for what we can learn. One card for what we can learn. Temptress with Healer at the bottom. Yeah, see the duality here? There's the inner reflection and the outer reflection, how you're perceived versus how you present, right? Healer, you learn to heal the parts of you that felt shame, felt guilt, felt grief over things that may have happened to you that you didn't deserve, experiences that or places, environments that you were placed in that weren't necessarily beneficial to your growth, but tried to stifle your fire, tried to dim your light or take away your confidence, right? You have healed all aspects of that, where you have again accepted the nuance of everything that you have overcome or experienced on your journey this far. And in effect, you've aligned yourself with people, situations, environments, a community, a family, a life that will accept you wholeheartedly in the same way. One card for what we can create surrounding this message. Sandman, creation. Your dreams are coming true right before your eyes, right? One card for what we can meditate on surrounding this message. Lover. With Saint at the bottom of the deck. Yeah, there's a meditate on the peace that you have created for yourself, within yourself, around yourself, right? Meditate on the serenity, the harmony, the alignment that you have created, right? The abundance that you have created, the sense of wealth and convenience that you have created for yourself, right? Because there's a very strong sense of like purity, clarity, clearness that surrounds you, right? Even in moments where you may feel elements of doubt, know that if you just go to that meditative place, the clarity that you're looking for will meet you in that moment, right? One card for what we can innovate to contribute to our growth and expansion surrounding this message. Oracle with success. Everything that you've seen for yourself will become your reality, right? You will be successful. And not only will you be successful, but everybody and everything that tried to take who you take from you or try to persuade you that you aren't who you truly are or who you know yourself to be, they will be a witness to your success as well. Right? This is not something that you will experience in silence, right? The world is a stage, and everybody around you, everything around you, they will be a witness to the success that you have created for yourself. But that is the message that I have for you guys. I hope that it resonates. I know that if you made it to the end of this video, you have found something in it that is worthy and valuable to you. Thank you for watching. Bye.